Hi, this is Lisa from 4Imprint.
Yes.
I'd like 50 welcome wows, 300 customer I love it, and 200 team member oh yes.
Certainly.
You know we got some brand new woohoos.
Dial up the wow factor with promotional products from 4Imprint. We specialize in awesome items that are certain to awe and guaranteed to deliver some ooh yes. From apparel, backpacks, drinkware to high-tech items.
Wow.
I love it. Woohoo!
Go to 4imprint.com and find some wow now. 4Imprint. For certain.
The Weather Channel is the leader in weather coverage.
Weather shapes the landscape. It's part of your adventure. Please pay attention to the forecast.
The Weather Channel,
America's most trusted TV news network.
You're watching Storm Center. I'm Justin Michaels in Tampa, Florida now for you, and we're tracking a lot of developments here in Tampa Bay, from long lines to get sandbags to even the hospital building a wall around the entire facility to try to keep that building safe. Take a look at some video we shot earlier today. This is called an aqua fence, and they actually use the weight of the potential water that's going to be on it to keep it upright. It is screwed in a few places, but for the most part, the expectation of what could be as much as 10 or more feet of storm surge flooding as that's inundating Davis Island, where Tampa General Hospital sits, it's going to basically keep that wall in place. Amazing technology, and the hospital's employing that so people have a place to go. Remember, the hospital is going to be critical, likely after the storm. As people are being injured during recovery efforts and all sorts of things, that hospital needs to be fully functional. So, in addition to that wall they're building, they also took a lot of time and money several years ago to lift all of their generators, Chris, at the hospital, which can run every function of the hospital, every light, every air conditioner, every life-saving device. All of those generators are 35 feet off the ground to make sure they are fully functional before, during, and after the storm at Tampa General, Chris.
All right, the Weather Channel's Justin Michaels, thank you so much. As we are tracking in storm surge warnings and could see several feet of water above normally dry ground. This is a very serious and potentially very scary situation. So with that, meteorologist Jackie Jarris, myself here with our hurricane expert and former director of the National Hurricane Center, Dr. Rick Knapp. And Dr. Knapp, for the Tampa-St. Pete area, would you say this could be like the worst case scenario?
I think this is very likely to be the worst hurricane event that a lot of people living there have ever experienced, even if they've lived there a long time, because it has been a long time since a direct impact from a major hurricane. And I can't remember a scenario quite like this, where you have the combination of major hurricane going nearly parallel to the coast at such a slow forward speed. That is going to dump tremendous amounts of rainfall. So this is a track that's bad for wind, obviously, with a major hurricane coming right on your doorstep, but it's bad for storm surge and it's bad for rainfall all at the same time. 4 or 5 miles an hour. That's a 2-day hurricane event that is going to be pushing storm surge and raining in that area the entire time.
Right, and that could last for what, 24 hours?
Oh,
it could stall for at least that long?
It could stall for more than a day. Well, you know, in other words, front to back, the whole storm, easily a 2-day event for a lot of these west coast of Florida Peninsula areas. And we haven't talked a lot about this, but if you just look at this, say we're likely going to have flash flooding in Orlando and in Tampa Bay. You know, all those areas are likely going to experience flash flooding, or it's likely within that zone. That's bad enough. The storm surge on its own is bad enough, but we got to realize that we're going to be putting these factors together. So this is the potential storm surge flooding map from the National Hurricane Center, reasonable worst case scenario at any one spot on the map. And these values are pretty high, and they go away, you know, inland from the immediate bayfront and certainly the immediate Gulf front. But if you combine this with this, then these numbers on the potential storm surge flooding map in some spots could be underdone in terms of how high the water could get. We're trying to provide evacuation motivation here. So if I could outline it, if I'm somebody who's considering whether or not to evacuate, consider this line of reasoning, okay? You're gonna have to endure the storm for 2 straight days. Help can't come get you if you get into danger during those 2 days. Meanwhile, the community could flood due to saltwater and freshwater flooding, and debris could block the roads. So that means a potentially long and nasty aftermath in which help still can't come.
Right.
Do you really want to be in that? Do you really even want to evacuate vertically in a high rise? The flooding might not get you, but you'll be in danger for several days.
And you don't know what that could do to the structure of a building either.
Right. So there's so many reasons to evacuate here. This could be such a bigger deal than people can even contemplate.
What's your biggest fear that is reasonable that could happen? Like one of the outside chances of something happening? What are you most worried about?
Well, if you were to get, for example, 5 to 10 feet of storm surge flooding, and in the same place or in the same area, put a volume of water, you know, where you get a foot and a half of rainfall over a large area, and those happen in the same spots, the water disaster could be absolutely immense.
Yeah, the water just can't drain out when you've got that push of water towards those bays, and it goes from a larger area to the smaller area, so it all gets lifted up.
Yep, and the volume of water just adds to the height of the flooding. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Dr. Knabb. Of course, the Weather Channel is keeping a close watch on all tracks of this storm and its effects on you and your family with our team of meteorologists and correspondents in the field. Stay with tropical coverage that you can trust on air and online.